Hello, welcome to the Overtime Show. It's me, it's Steve Hoare, it's NFL goodness. We're going to talk through 4 games, then take a spin around the NFL and look at all the other results as well. Yes, that's what we're going to do. We're going to start off, Steve, with your side. The Green Bay Packers beating the Dallas Cowboys 35-31.
Yeah,
good game?
Probably the game of the season, do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
take your.
I'll take my Packers bias away and you take your Packers anti, whatever you...
No, I won't.
Okay, then don't. But
it was
a very, very good game. It was 2 teams playing pretty much their brand of football in terms of the offense, and in the end, the team who had the ball last won. It was that type of game. They both played really, really well.
That was the problem, though, wasn't it? Because it showed you the Dallas play calling towards the end of the game was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah, all through that drive, they were doing exactly what you do. They should have got to a point where it was either they score or they run out of time. That should have been what they did, or maybe left like 10 seconds or something on. And they were doing it. They drove the ball down the field. I was thinking it's fine because if they score, we'll go back to the other end and we'll score, or we'll at least get a field goal, of course, and get overtime and stuff. And as that drive went on, I was getting a bit more worried. Oh, it's going to be, And then I think they run it on first down and they get to 2nd and 1.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, right, they're just going to milk the clock. And if we get the ball back, Rodgers might have 10 seconds, and we're hoping for a Hail Mary or something like that. And then they make the odd play call where they throw on 2nd down. I think they throw a fade to Des Bryant, and obviously it's incomplete. But even if that is complete, I wouldn't have been bothered because another a minute and 20 or something for Rodgers to score. I thought they played it so well right up until that point where when they threw on 2nd down and stopped the clock. I was delighted because I even if they,
I think Packers had one
timeout, so I was fine. Once they threw on 2nd down, either way, if they scored, I'd have been happy, and if they'd done what they did, I'd have been happy. It was a very strange play call, and I'm not sure if Jason Garrett's a good coach. I don't know if he is. I'm not sure what he does, because he doesn't call plays, he doesn't do a lot.
He used to call the plays,
yeah, he give that away and stuff, and his clock management obviously isn't great, because although his coordinator calls that...
Steve's a yes man. That's what he does. He can work with Jerry Jones, and that in itself is difficult.
Absolutely. And his team win, and they've drafted well and stuff. But he doesn't call that play. He'll hear that play call being transmitted from the coordinator to the quarterback, and he should go no, run. And even Dak, I think, should audible out maybe and know. I know he's a young player and stuff, and it's hard to do that. But I don't get it. Even if they scored, it was a bad decision. I mean, they should have ran. And if they do run, they probably get a first down because they've got a yard, and Zeke have been getting yards all game. They convert a 4th down twice, once with Elliott on a really good play where he stretches out where the camera...
This brings up its own stuff with the camera angle, doesn't it?
Take all the missing. I'm fine with use whatever angle you're right to get the right call. I mean, it doesn't matter. If you've got that angle, use it. And then Dak does a sneak. They'd have got that yard, and then it would have been do what you want. Take it down to 20 seconds and then try and score. Jason Garrett says, it's hard to be picky in the NFL. You need to take your chances, and I agree. So when Dak runs it in, Dak does the right thing because once he's running and the end zones, then you have to score.
You don't have to though.
You could take it.
We've seen it.
People sit down. Maybe, maybe, but it was the throw on 2nd down that was the killer for them. You give Aaron Rodgers a minute and a half and a timeout. All the best.
It's just too easy though. I mean, the way the Cowboys defended that drive wasn't good enough. They did what every team does, and they drop deep, and it never works. I see teams do this all the time. Like, what's been working for you, you throw out because you're scared of something happening, but you invite that thing to happen by just go on, play in front of us, and it's too easy.
They had especially in the end of the first half, they got their pass rush going, and it kind of fell away on them as the game went on, but the important thing is the timeout that Green Bay had, because they were able to run it. They ran it once with Jones, I think. They were able to... I mean, they put big trust in the rookie, Aaron Jones. They gave him the ball twice, I think, on that drive, running. Once he got out of bounds well. The second one didn't really work so well. But the touchdown...
The first one, he literally just darted for the out of bounds. He got 2 yards maybe, but that's a heads-up play by a young player, isn't it?
And it also...
You want to see that for players.
It also keeps the defence honest, and they can run it. They might run it, because even if, to be fair, with a minute on the clock, you can run because you can spike it if you need to and stuff. And then the big player, obviously, is the Rodgers scramble is just... That's what makes him... No one else in the world can do what he does on that drive. I don't think in terms of the throws he makes and the run he makes, very few quarterbacks can do that. Alex Smith maybe this year, who's playing really well, but other than that, no one's doing. It was unbelievable, and then you can tell he knew. He's high-stepping down the friggin' sidelines, you know, and he's stepping out of bounds. And once he steps out of bounds, he knows.
So annoying.
Yeah, and then the throw, obviously.
I really hate him, Steve.
Yeah, I can see why. It's very much like when we play against the Falcons. I just hate everything about them. He should be picked off, to be fair. It wasn't a great throw the first time, and then he goes back to the exact same throw, and Adams makes the catch.
Adams was the guy in the huddle who told him to do it.
Yeah, Adams said, didn't he? He said afterwards, I went back and said, I've got him. And to be fair, he had him twice. It was a good play.
It was a poor throw the first time, though.
It was a terrible throw, and Adams plays defence, and it was lucky he did, otherwise it game over and stuff. So those then the breaks, you know what I mean? We've said this. Remember the Brady drive against Houston? They're the breaks and stuff. I just think I wouldn't be that concerned if I was Dallas. I think you played a great 58 minutes, pretty much. You know, you went toe for toe with the Packers. The major play, and people aren't talking about it, which I'm surprised, was the pick six, because it was that allowed the Packers to catch up the scoring, because the Cowboys broke away to a big lead, and they were, you know, I think they scored touchdowns on their first three possessions, and the only time the half ended. So that was the only reason he didn't. He kept scoring. But that pick six allowed Green Bay back into the game. It gives them that free play, you know what I mean? And that's all on Terrence Williams. Just you've got to catch that ball.
Yeah. I must admit, like, look, I like the Cowboys' offense and stuff, but defensively they make some serious mistakes and stuff. And to be fair to the Packers, like, they did sort it out second half. They did start to understand how the Cowboys were getting at them and stuff, and they made their adjustments. And you know what, Aaron Rodgers does what Aaron Rodgers does, and that is win ball games right at the end, and it's fucking infuriating.
Yeah, as I can imagine, as an opposition fan, listen, I with 1 minute on the clock, I was confident we'd get at least a field goal attempt. You mean, obviously you can miss the kick, or you know what I mean, but I was amazed when they scored. When I say that throw was just baffling. And give everyone on Twitter was saying, and I was on Twitter at the time, you've given him a minute, you've given Aaron Rodgers a minute.
What we do?
What's the point of this? Because it's just, I don't understand what you play. That throw, and even the commentator Joe Buck, who's, you know, he's fairly neutral, and he goes like, well, explain that one to me. Troy Aikman, who, you know, licks Dallas's ass, he'll never criticise him. Even he was like, that's just absolutely bizarre. It was just really poor game management.
The one thing that I thought I saw from the Packers during that game that I'd not really seen before is just how honest he kept them, because, you know, we talked about it in the last drive with the rushing attempts and stuff, but I think it was about 25 rushing attempts to about 29 passing attempts.
Yeah.
In a game like that, when you are so far behind as well to begin with, to keep that almost 50-50 was pretty good from the Packers.
Yeah, it was. In fairness, a few of those are sneaks, but, you know, Rodgers scrambles. I think in actual rushes it was 21, which is, again, it's not too dissimilar, is it? And Jones was really good. He's a better runner than Ty Montgomery. A pure runner, he might not be a better football player. You know, he might not be able to catch. He might not know the checks, and he said that beforehand. You know, they couldn't check out of as many players as they wanted to because the back doesn't get it. But as a pure runner, he was a better runner. You know, he was hitting holes quicker than Montgomery does. He just looked. Obviously, Montgomery's a wide receiver playing running back, and he
wants to be a running back as well. He has to learn every facet of the job.
Ty Montgomery's good, but he's not. He doesn't have the instincts, I don't think, to be a runner yet. He might get them. Jones had those. He was, you know, the little cutbacks that he was finding the hole, getting through and stuff. And he's just a kid in his first game, getting a chance because of 2 injuries. If Green Bay get a running game, then they are they're a serious team. You know what I mean? That was the one thing on the offense where you thought it hadn't been going well. It was like 2 or 3 yards a carry. You know, if they can get, you know, 125 yards off 19 carries, if you can get that from anyone, if it's this kid, then I don't know how you stop the Packers.
And what about the flip side of it? We've talked a lot about Green Bay. Where the Packers go from here, Steve? Cowboys go from here.
The Cowboys were fine. The issue that they've got...
They're 2-3 on the season now.
Yeah, listen, that was one of those. They played a good offensive game, you know, up until one call. Zeke Elliott was at 116 yards, you know. Dak was amazing. Dak, for the most part, was absolutely fantastic, with his legs, with his arm. The amount of times the Packers had them in third down and couldn't get off the field because he'd made a play with his legs and found an open receiver and stuff. He's a big guy.
But
he's hard to tackle.
Losing these close games that really affects football teams.
Yeah, listen, that's the coach. The coach and the play calling deserves this loss. They should never have lost that game. They should never give Rodgers the ball. They should have either scored or run out of time, or give Rodgers 5 seconds. You know, that was the issue for them. Their offensive line isn't as good, which is obviously a hindrance to them, and they can't stop the run. Yeah. Teams have ran all over them all year now, haven't they? And that was the issue. As good as Jones ran, there was holes for him to run into. And the Packers' offensive line wasn't exactly fully healthy. You know, they had a guard playing tackle, they had backups in, and they were making holes. If you can run, that's what you want. You want to run on Dallas so that if you score, they've got less time to run to Elliott. That's what you want, you know what I mean? And they couldn't stop them. So the issue that they've got is they're in a good division. We've got some good teams in that division that Dallas have got. I think they'll be fine. I was really impressed with Prescott. He played better than he did in the last time we played them, and he was good in that game as well. He's the best young quarterback in the league for me. He's by far. I don't think it's even close. When you watch the likes of...
He looks like he's been in the league for 5 years.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Wentz is playing well. Winston, Mariota are both good players. People like Derek Carr, I understand it all, but I would take Prescott now. I was listening to a different podcast this morning, the Bill Simmons podcast, and someone mentioned Jerry Jones has said, if any player who kneels, we might sack, you know, along those words. And I was saying, if I was Dak Prescott, I might think about taking a knee. Because you might go and get a Jacksonville or someone might pay you all the money to go and play for them because honestly, like, he's on zero money. But honestly, they've found themselves an absolute star. He's their quarterback for the next 10 years, all things considered, because he was absolutely fantastic. So they shouldn't worry too much. They'll be fine. But, I mean, Jason Garrett, that play call, that should keep him up at night.
It's mad because I always think of it, and the Jason Garrett thing, it winds me up, and I say it all the time, is that like he's just the yes man, but it's such a hard place to coach there because of Jerry Jones and because of the personality and because you've got literally the world's media focused in on you, that sometimes I think, is it a really good fit? Does it work? You know, he's been there for, 7 years now, and he's got that winning record. You know, he was a quarterback coach to Tony Romo, I think, when he started there, wasn't he? Went to offensive coordinator, gets the job after, was it Wade Phillips or something? Yeah. Like, and you're looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, is it a good fit? But can he take them to where they need to be? And that's where I see the limitations of him as a coach, because I don't see him as a Super Bowl winning coach. And if Jerry Jones wants that more than anything, then he needs to change that. And it might be that he has to take a bit more of a back seat, get an established coach in who can take them to the next level. Because for me, they're only going to go so far with Garrett.
Yeah, to an extent, I agree. But my issue is, what's his job? His job is to manage the football game, because he's not calling plays, he's not doing anything. So his job is to call the timeout, manage the clock, and have words with his coordinators. Listen, I want you to run it. You know, that's all his job is managing the game. You know, and yet you make that call. You hear that call come down. And I said this in the Super Bowl, people, you know, when Kyle Shanahan calls the passing plays for the Falcons and stuff, the head coach kind of got away with that. I was like, no, because you can hear those calls and you can say, no, I'll override you there. And then you might piss the coordinator off, but then you'll sort that out later.
When you're holding the trophy.
Exactly, or when you've got to win and stuff, or you might have to win. I thought it was, again, the best case is for them is that they score, which was a good outcome for the Packers.
The only thing that I would say is that when Green Bay bring in the big guys, they can stop the run. Yeah. And so I wonder whether they were just thinking, look, we just need to get this score because, you know, let's say we're within the 10-yard line, everything's just much more difficult. If Green Bay bring in the big guns and look to stop it, they might not have been confident. I know that we've seen that, you know, they converted a couple of times on 4th down and stuff, but how many plays did he have in his locker?
Yeah, I agree, possibly, but then you've got to back your team to get a yard in 3 plays. With a running back they haven't stopped and a quarterback who can run. Yeah. And if it gets to 4th down, then you can throw, if you really need to throw. But it's 2nd and 1. But it's just...
It's bizarre. It's
mad.
Bizarre.
And listen, Green Bay offensively were fantastic again. I thought they were really good, especially second half. So if they can get flowing, they'll be fine. You know, they've done that drive without Jordy Nelson, for example. Jordy Nelson's off injured. Bennett stepped up. He played well. Devontae Adams is going to get paid. He's really, really good.
Cobb did nothing apart from one catch early on.
And they didn't need to use Cobb. Cobb was more misdirection for the running game and stuff, which works. You know, again, you take what brings you. You know, I mean, you what the defense is giving you and stuff.
Okay, well, we'll move it on.
Really good.
We'll move it on. We've got Jacksonville Jaguars 30, Pittsburgh Steelers 9.
Yeah, who called this one?
Mate, not me. Not me, no one. No, I just can't. I watched this game and I was thinking to myself, what is wrong with Ben Roethlisberger? And everybody's saying it now. I mean, I think it's the first time he's thrown 5 interceptions since something like 2007 or 2008. Like, ridiculous. But a couple of them were just downright stupid throws. And that's the thing. I don't think he's seeing it as well as he should be. There's issues for that Steelers team, don't get me wrong. I mean, how you're going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, good defence, their rushing defence isn't that good, and it hasn't been that good this season thus far. And yet Bell gets, 10 or 15 carries or something all game?
Yeah.
I can't remember, it was under 50 yards he carried.
15 for 47, yeah.
15 for 47. Right, I get it, you've got Antonio Brown, and he's a massive, massive weapon, but at some point, winning has to be more important than Antonio Brown getting his 150 yards.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I get that they were behind in the game and that you've got to throw, but you've got to keep that team honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the coach, they look like a poorly coached team in that game, and I think we need to give Jacksonville credit in a minute, so we should. But if we focus on Pittsburgh for now, they looked sloppy. They played sloppy football. You know,
not well coached football.
Defensively, they were pretty good. Actually, I thought defensively they were okay. You know, they limited the run. Other than that, if you take away that massive 90 yards.
Watt's looking good as well.
Yeah, and Shazier makes that great play where he strips the ball off the receiver because he realises the guy's held up. They were fine offensively. I don't know if Ben Roethlisberger's any good anymore. I'm not sure he's any good anymore because he doesn't move well, particularly anymore. And that was what he based a lot of his game was as moving around. And I know he's become a good pocket passer. In the last few years.
But he's not a great pocket passer.
No, and the line isn't bad. It isn't a bad line. It wasn't like he was constantly under duress.
I think the problem is when their line is under pressure, you need to keep a hole for the quarterback to step up into or to escape around the sides, and it's collapsing too often on him. And it's too difficult for him because he can stand there and he's big and he's tall and people used to hang off him. You don't see that side of Ben Roethlisberger anymore. He goes down. And for me, there's a mentality issue, isn't there? The fact that he's talking about retiring, he'll have known something going into this season when he was thinking about it. And I don't think he can get past that mentally.
He's reminding me of a player who thinks he can do what he used to do and he can't do it. So some of those throws that he makes, they were just a bit off. They were a second mistimed or stuff, you know what I mean? I don't know if he's any good. He hasn't played well all year. He didn't play particularly well at the end of last year as well. He's still an above average quarterback because there's so many crap ones playing, you know what I mean? That which is an issue within itself. But that offense needs to run through Le'Veon Bell. Yeah. And for him to get, even if you're losing, to get 15 attempts is just bizarre. Absolutely bizarre because they should just run the ball against Jacksonville all the time. Just keep running against them because until they prove they can stop you, keep doing it. I think they were the last ranked defense against the run up going into the game. Your offensive plan should be first and second down, we're just going to run Lev Bell. And I imagine we're going to be in, if we do that, we'll probably be in third and short. And then we can unleash Antonio Brown or Bryant or, all the Smith-Schuster or whoever. I thought they were poor. I thought it was a poor game plan and poor decisions all around and poorly coached. And they deserved. They got their asses handed to them. Yeah. And I don't know if it's complacency, but the Steelers tend to do these brain fart games a lot. And it's the reason they keep having to go to Foxborough and get beaten in the playoffs is because they can't beat the Patriots. The Patriots are their kryptonite. Again, my team's got the Falcons who are their kryptonite. Every team's got that team who you just don't beat. Dallas have got Green Bay. That's why you end up in Foxborough in the playoffs, because you lose these stupid games. You lose to the you lose to the Bears at home. You lose to the Jacksonville at home. You can't do that because it'll come back and bite you.
Listen, let's give them some credit. Like Jacksonville got their ground game rolling again. Leonard Fournette again.
I'm not sure. You say rolling, they just stuck with it. He wasn't going anywhere. I mean, you look at you see 20.
He's done near 100 yards.
You see 20
without the 90. Yeah.
You see 28 for 180, and you think wow. And then you take the 90 off, which you shouldn't because it's a thing. But then it's 27 for 90. And you're like, what's the yard to carry? So it's not amazing.
But they kept with it.
That's what I'm saying.
Stick with it. Once you stick with something, it can blow.
That's the Jacksonville game plan. That's exactly what it is. Is that we'll keep just pound you with Fournette. He will break a tackle at some stage, and he'll get through. Blake Bortles threw the ball 14 times, and he scored 30.
That's what they need to do.
Exactly. And so on offense, it's amazing. That plan, that's their blueprint. We keep talking about the Jacksonville blueprint. That's it. To give Fournette credit, the first touchdown is incredible. He leaps from about 5 yards away. Right. And he is unbelievable. He's everything.
I can't get over the mentality of that leap, because whenever I'm watching sport, I put myself into that situation. Would I have done that? And I think to myself, there's about 20 guys in front of me there, and I'm going to attempt to leap all of them.
And I'm going to get smashed at the end of it.
And I'm going head first. And then you want me to do a toss over so I don't hurt myself on the other side of this? No, thank you. How do you, like, because that, before the ball's in his hand, he knows what he's doing. I just don't think I'm ever jumping there. I might get there and go, fuck.
Yeah, like a kid running to the swimming pool. No,
You know, right, sir?
he's wired differently. He's a big, mean... Did you see him waving the tackle on? I think that's the first time I've ever seen... I think Mike Mitchell is, and he just waves him in as if to say, come on, lad, I'll have a bit of this. He's wired.
It's up there, mate.
He's a freak. He's unbelievable, and that's the blueprint. If you flip to defensively, outstanding. Those corners, Boye and Ramsey, if they're not the best in the league, Gio, they're the second best, aren't they? The only team I think might compare at the minute is Denver. Other than that, these are outstanding. Those plays that Ramsey and Antonio Brown beats him all day, doesn't he? The first one goes back and does beat him again, and he makes sure he gets his hands on them. They were incredible plays. We had Ngakwe and Smith and Jack.
I'm sorry, Jacksonville Jaguars fans, but the Steelers played into that.
Yeah.
They played to Jacksonville's strengths, which is terrible.
It's bad coaching. I agree, but then you
can't. No, I'm not taking away any credit. That's what they've stood up and done their job.
Exactly.
But I just think it's ridiculous that they were able to do that.
If you said to me, you're starting a franchise now for the next 10 years, do you want a cornerback? Who you're having? I think I'd take Jalen Ramsey. I think he was unbelievable. I had him when he came out the draft. Before we did the show, I used to rank players draft-wise, and he was the number one draft pick of that draft for me. Obviously, he didn't go number one because there was quarterbacks involved and stuff. I just thought, this kid's amazing. He's got everything. And he is everything. He's lived up to it. AJ Boye and Calais Campbell. It's very rare free agent signings work as well as those two have. They've got the elite defence. That's their plan. If they can get a couple
they've built that in free agency and the draft over the last 2-3 years, haven't they?
They've got everything except the line's pretty average and they've got a terrible quarterback. But if they can get ahead in games and they can keep Fournette on the field, and so you can give Fournette 20 goals and you don't have to throw from behind, and your defence scores 2 touchdowns, perfect. That's the Jacksonville game plan.
And where are you ranking Fournette from the running back draft class now?
I had him as my first running back at the time. I had him above McCaffrey, I had him above Cook and Mixon. I think, sorry, it was the other way around. It was Fournette, McCaffrey, Mixon, and then Cook. Him and Cook were fantastic. They were the two, weren't they? Obviously, Kareem Hunt, I didn't have him ranked at all, to be fair, so I missed on that one. Fournette, he is everything that he was at college. He's too big, too strong, too physical, and he's a bit different up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jacksonville could go if they can stick to that blueprint, they'll win 10 games. It's when they've had too many brain fart moments, and being a fan of them must be horrendous. Yeah. Because they're so Jekyll and Hyde. That's the blueprint. Stick to your blueprint, you'll be fine, and you'll in an average division you'll win.
What Steve's saying is keep the ball out of Blake Bortles' hands, and Steve, on this occasion, is 110% right.
Or go and find a quarterback, go and trade for someone.
Yeah, you can do that too. Bradford's available.
Ben Roethlisberger might be available. Ben Roethlisberger might be available for trade.
Okay, another quarterback that will be available if he's still playing come the end of the season. We'll move on to Arizona Cardinals 7, Philadelphia Eagles 34. Wentz had another good game. This guy can throw the ball, man.
He reminds me of young Ben Roethlisberger. So we were talking before about lads hanging off him, getting out of the plays, unusual things, the odd stupid mistake. He's very much a young Roethlisberger. He's really good. Yeah. He's really, really good. He could be great. He could be. He is really, really special. He's got that thing when you watch a quarterback, he's like, yeah, he's got it. Again, I ranked him above Goff at the time. Even though Goff went 1, I thought Wentz was better than him. The issue was the competition and the level he'd been playing at, which was fine. He'd been at a small school, but I think he's helped by the running game because now teams have to respect the running game because Blunt's found something. If Wentz has got time to throw, he can escape, he's making everything. He's got receivers making plays for him in Jeffrey Smith and Aguilar's come back to life after going missing. Philly are a good team. Philly are a really, really good team. And they're a danger in the NFC, I think. I think it all starts, if you agree, on both lines. Their offensive line is protecting Wentz and their defensive line is getting after quarterbacks. And fundamentally, if you can do that, you've got a chance in any game.
That front 7 from Philadelphia is scary, on the defense and stuff, and you're looking at it and you're thinking, these guys are winning their individual battles, and if you win your individual battles, your team wins its battles. It's that simple, really, isn't it? Again, I spoke about it before, the way that you can collapse a pocket. It's the pressure in the quarterback's face. You know, Carson Palmer's there, he's under pressure so often. He is an experienced quarterback. Whatever you think about Carson Palmer, he knows how to play quarterback. He knows how to be a pocket passer in this league. He will take 1 step or 2 steps to his right, to his left. He'll find that little crease in the protection, and he'll get the ball out of his hands. But the fact is, when it's coming from all sides and there's nothing for him to step up into, then he can't. And he looks like a guy, for me right now, Carson Palmer, who knows that his offensive line's not good enough, who's not giving him the time that he needs to seek out a receiver, and he's almost clutching the ball to go down before the pain comes. Yeah. And that is a major concern above anything else.
I've got in my notes, I think Carson's seeing ghost, and you can see why. He's got no protection. That scheme is not helping them at all. No. The scheme that got them to the NFC title game is now a hindrance to them, because Bruce Arians believes in, I'm having 5 guys to block, a quarterback, and I've got 5 weapons.
Yeah. He needs to drop a 6th guy into block.
Have they got the personnel to do it? I don't know. I mean, the sign Adrian Peterson today, he's not going to pass protect much. No. I can tell you that now. Adrian Peterson, you know this. Adrian Peterson doesn't play on passing down historically, because he doesn't block well, he can't catch. So that's not the answer. That's just bringing another guy in to join the farewell tour for me. The Palmer, Arians, Fitzgerald, Peterson, wave goodbye. That's how it feels at the moment, doesn't it? They were very unlucky losing Chris Johnson. That's horrendous and stuff, and you don't recover when you lose your best offensive weapon. I get that, but scheme-wise, they're doing him no favours, because you're asking average NFL linemen to try and block good defensive linemen, and they can't do it. 5-on-5, man v man, like you said. Every single Philadelphia Eagle was beating their man pretty much. No chance. And I like Arians. I think I've always liked it as, was it no risk it, no biscuit philosophy. His issue is now, it isn't a risk, it's plain stupidity. Yeah. Your quarterback's getting killed.
Mate, it comes down to ego again, and listen, Arians has done a good job in Arizona, but I've always thought he was a better coordinator, because when you have a philosophy that's based around taking those risks, you need someone above him to go, now's not the right time. Now's not the time to do that, sunshine. Yeah. You can go this far, and maybe that's something that, we've spoken about already today. But at some point, somebody needs to go. Look at Riverboat Ron in Carolina.
He knows when to take it.
He knows when to take those risks now. He learned that over the last couple of years. Yeah. You don't talk about him making silly decisions. Arians isn't changing. He's going to be Arians, because that's what's got him there. And it's a little bit easier, and apologies to anyone if I offend you or anything, but when you're in a no-lose situation in the Colts, I'm right in saying, then I'm sorry, you can take those risks there, and it's going to work out, because you know that you're doing a job for somebody.
Yeah, well, it works, it works if your players are better than the other team as well.
It's true.
For the Falcons,
that is big.
The Cardinals had that team where they had the receivers, they had the running back, they had a decent-ish line. It wasn't a great line, but it was a good line. But they could give Palmer enough time to throw downfield. I'm telling you now, their whole scheme is built around 5 wide receivers, 5 out weapons and stuff, and I get that. But you can't win with this now. So
who are their 5 weapons?
Well, at the minute, you're talking Fitzgerald, the 2 Browns, you've got Nelson, and then usually it's whoever's the running back. Who are those that are performing?
Yeah, why is it worth sticking to that strategy?
The issue is,
you've got one.
The issue is, right, are you good enough? Have you got the players to coach? Have you got the players to coach to change? I think they should at least be bringing, occasionally play a 6th offensive lineman, play 2 blocking tight ends, to do something. And I get that it's difficult with coaching time and time between games. Can you do it? But you are not going to win with this. Yeah. Unless you play against average crap teams. They've been beating crap teams. Fair play to them. But if this is the farewell tour, your aim is the Super Bowl. Well, absolutely not a chance.
Okay, we'll move on then. The Panthers beat the Lions by 27-24. It was a tough week for Cam Newton coming into this, wasn't it? With all the sexist comments that he'd made, and the focus being very much on him as a person. Yeah. The apology, whether you believe it or not, was made. For the record, I don't believe that for a second. In fact, if I was a woman, I'd be even more fuming, because he had this sly little smile on his face. I'm thinking, yeah, you've lost the sponsor. Very good. You've come out and made a pathetic attempt at an apology, and 4 other sponsors have decided to stay with you because essentially you're really good at the football.
He's a massive dickhead.
Yeah,
that's what he is. But he can play.
It was the way, did you watch obviously you've seen the comments and stuff, and the look on his face as he's saying, and the fact that he's laughing at it, and you're thinking to yourself, who on earth are you, mate, to be belittling half of the planet, by the way?
He's a dickhead. He's an absolute dickhead. He's not the first thing he's done. And anyone who knows Cam Newton's college career, he's not good. He's got this in him. He does loads for charity. He's good with kids. He does loads in the hospitals and stuff. But deep down inside him, he's just a bit of a dickhead. And that's just the way it is. Having said that, when he steps on the white line, it doesn't affect him. And if we're going to judge him as a fella, I'm with you. He's a bit of a prick. If we're going to judge him as a player, he played really well in this game, and he did it with his arm, which is very un-Cam Newton-like.
They had no running game, did they?
Well, he had 7 running attempts for no yards. Christian McCaffrey, 3 attempts for 7, and Jonathan Stewart, 18 for 21. So, no, none. And yet Cam beats them. If you said to the Lions, that's the rushing stats that we're going to get the Panthers.
You'll take that.
Oh, all day. You think we've won this game. Cam, to be fair, beat him with his arm, and he did it by finding, a tight end. And I was saying to Chris off camera, I pride myself on knowing quite a lot of this league, players, backups, blah, blah, blah. I had no idea who Ed Dixon was.
Not you do now. 175
175 yards. Off 5 catches. That might be the best.
It's the next Antonio Brown.
That might be the next. That's the next catch to yards ratio I've ever seen. It was mad. I had to Google him half through the game, and I spelled his name wrong. I spelled it Dixon. Thinking, who's this fella? I don't know who he is. No, it's not him. I can't find him anywhere. Oh, Dixon with a CK. He was. It's because Greg Olsen's so good. We never have to see him, isn't it? Yeah. He played well. Funchess is looking like he's becoming their number 1, and Benjamin's becoming their number 2. And like you said, they trusted River Ron on 3rd and 8. He took that calculated risk at the very end of the game, and he left the ball in Cam Newton's hands. He let him throw it, and he finds the first down and ends the game. It should never have been this close in the first place. Detroit threatened to do their Detroit thing.
Mate, if I was the Lions coach, right, I would be looking at it and I would be saying, every single time we take to the field,
it's the fourth
quarter, lads.
Just put a big 4 somewhere in the stadium.
Honest to goodness. They are a different football inside every time the 4th quarter rolls around. If they could just do it for one game, just 4 quarters on the bounce, they blitz teams. They must be outscoring teams something chronic in the 4th quarter.
They play a tempo in the 4th quarter and it works. And it might be worth, lads, start with tempo. And you can't play with tempo game. Your defence will die and you'll be knackered. But you might be able to start with tempo and maybe build yourself a lead, and then that's an option. But it's mad. It's obviously a psychological thing, and Matt Stafford's really good, which helps. But yeah, it shouldn't have been this close. And what I would say is, as good as Matt Stafford is, he got absolutely destroyed. I think he's been sacked 12 times in 2 games. Mate, you talk about being brave. I would not want to play quarterback with Greg Robinson as my left tackle. Speaking of draft picks, he's one I got terribly, terribly wrong. I thought he was going to be an all-world Joe Thomas, and he's just crap. And Matt Stafford's getting the shit kicked out of him. He had the big cut on his hand. You can't play. You're getting hit all that time. And listen, the Panthers' defense is for real. I think it's outstanding. Again, front 7 and Luke Kuechly playing, and they're amazing. But he got his arse kicked.
He did.
And he got his arse absolutely handed to him, mate. The Lions they're gonna struggle if they can't do something to protect them anytime soon, because their receivers they don't get open. So if you don't get open, your quarterback needs to hold the ball for a bit. And if your quarterback holds the ball for a bit, he needs time to hold the ball. Yeah. It's a very vicious circle. A bad line and receivers who don't get open, they get open through scheme. They don't beat their man. So Jones and Tate and Ebron just drops everything, which doesn't help.
Mate, I've got him in one of my fantasy leagues.
You idiot.
I know. Wait until I tell you who I dropped for him.
Go on.
He plays for the Seattle Seahawks.
Graham.
Yeah, I dropped him after 1 week. I'd had enough. I watched the game. I was like, he's just not going to be anywhere near as good as he was. And I took a spin, and it hasn't worked out.
You can't catch.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, if you don't protect Matt Stafford, if you protect him, you've got a chance, because Matt Stafford's really excellent. He's winning me over more and more each time I see him play. He's really good, but he's just getting his ass kicked.
Okay, well, we'll take our spin around the league. Which way did you go then?
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're going to have to sort that out.
Yeah, that's off camera discussion.
Yeah, well, which way do you want to go? Clockwise or anti?
Whatever that is.
I think I'm going that way as well.
No,
Yeah.
we're not. That's different.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that way is what you're doing.
No, I'm doing that way.
Okay.
I don't know what I did before. You might have to go back and let us know. So, Geno, we asked you to look after the Seattle Seahawks game. So it's Seattle 16, Los Angeles Rams 10. The Rams started well, but the Seahawks turned this game into exactly what they wanted it to be, and that was a bit of a slugfest, wasn't it?
Yeah, defensively, they're amazing. They still are, mate. Earl Thomas is just like all world level. He's not. I think if he retired now, he's a Hall of Famer. He's that good. He was ridiculous. That play where he makes the fumble on the first play, that rule's garbage, by the way. Fumble into the end zone and touchback is change that. That's a shit rule. Oh, having said that,
Lost me 450 quid. That.
It lost me a lot of money as well. I get switched down on my bet. If you want to play this type of game, you know, your defense are going to have to play at this all level because the Seattle offense is garbage. It's got no identity. It can't run the ball. There's no one getting open. It's Russell Wilson magic, and that's it. Having said that, if one team can get away with it and keep teams to 16 points or less, or whatever, 10 points, this defense is ridiculous.
I agree with everything that you've said there, and I love every individual piece of that Seattle defense, but they're not going to win. They can't. Nobody's shown me over the last few years that defense wins championships anymore.
Yeah,
it wins it late on.
Yeah, to an extent, the Broncos did it with Peyton, but it was more they were scoring a lot as well.
Yeah, and Peyton wasn't Peyton, but they were still scoring. Do you know what I mean? And you know what? I'll retract that because that was the best defense in the league that season and one of the best that I've seen. But
it's a rarity.
It's a rarity nowadays. It's not the norm like it used to be. What tends to happen is good offenses get you there, and then the defense shapes up for a few games and wins you it in the last few and in the Super Bowl.
I say defensively they've got no issues, but offensively they're in trouble. I think you're right.
So we'll move on then. The Chargers 27, Giants 22. I mean, this one was a tough game to call as well. But ultimately the Giants go 0-5 after this game. Yeah,
and they've got no receivers left. That was the story of this game. 4 wide receivers go
Crying
down.
As he got
Beckham breaks his ankle. It was harsh. But having said that, this was a game where I think it's 2 more quarterbacks who were done. Phil Rivers doesn't move anymore, and he isn't the same guy. He's making too many mistakes now, and Eli was crap again. It was just 2 poorly teams, and the bet one team outlasted the other one. Unfortunately, that was how this went for me. I thought I had these 2 teams pegged to be really, really good, and they're both really, really bad. And if I'm the Giants now, I'm 0-5, and I've got no receivers. There's talk of them bringing Victor Cruz back just to do some, that's horrendous luck.
Just to dance, maybe, if he can get in the end zone, which probably isn't going to happen.
Yeah, these are 2 bad teams, and yeah, it's hard to analyse this game. I thought defensively the Chargers looked a bit better, but it was just sloppy, and it was stop-start. The injuries definitely had an effect on both teams.
Is it me, or is there a clear gulf between the good teams and the bad teams, more so this season than any other?
I think there's plenty of bad teams. I think that's the thing. I think there's like a top 10, and everyone else is a bit crap. I think that's really...
And that's kind of like, is that mirroring the quarterback situation in the league? There's a clear top 10, and everything else is pretty
We thought going into this year that there was, the likes of the Browns and the 49ers and the Jets are going to need a quarterback at some stage. It's getting to the point where you can throw the Cardinals and the Chargers and the Giants and maybe the Steelers, the Dolphins. There's loads of teams now where they had veterans who you thought they might be all right, and actually they're struggling. Yeah,
it's a crazy league at the moment. And we'll carry on then. Buffalo Bills 16, Cincinnati Bengals 20. Story of this game really is that the Buffalo could well have easily won that. Late on, Tyrod Taylor throws... he's sacked actually. It's a sack that he should never take. He then throws a screen pass out into the flat, goes for no yards, and then he throws an interception. And at that point, they could have made a game-winning drive and won the game like 2 minutes ago, I think it was.
My apologies.
Oh.
I don't understand.
That's
Google Assistant, there we go. Tyrod did what Tyrod does, mate. He moved around well in the pocket, he made some long throws out of it. The problem that he had was he got sacked 6 times in this game, and that's far too many for Tyrod Taylor to be taken. Ultimately, the Bengals did a good job defensively. Passing yards, I think I wrote it down here. Let me just have a little look here. Average passing yards for the Bills was 3.2 yards.
They lost Charles Clay, didn't they? We spoke on the last show
he's good, and they lost him. But to be fair, O'Leary comes in for him, right? makes a couple of catches straight off the bat, and you're thinking, okay, Tyrod Taylor started really well, Clay started well, O'Leary comes in, can they keep this up? It didn't happen for them. Ultimately, the Bengals kept them. I think the rushing was about 3 yards a carry, and I think the passing was 3.2 yards a carry. But flip side, AJ Green, if you just look at it, had an outstanding game.
It was weird, wasn't it?
It was a strange game for AJ. Like, I mean, yeah,
He's probably,
honestly,
he responsible for 3 turnovers.
Yeah, 3 turnovers, 7 receptions, 189 yards, and 1 touchdown. That's what I need, Mr. Google or Mrs. Google. I'm going to put that down there. 7 receptions, 189 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 passes dropped, both for interceptions, and 1 fumble. Yeah. I mean, it was just a crazy game for him.
You know what AJ Green gets? AJ Green reminds me of like a really good Volvo.
It's still a Volvo?
It doesn't excite you, but it's really good. It's a good car and it'll do everything you want it to do, but then it doesn't give you the buzz of like, you know, an Odell Beckham or an Antonio Brown or Julio
what's
Jones.
That for American viewers? Do they have the Volvo over there?
I think so.
You think?
Yeah, you know, a very reliable high-end car.
Okay, well I'm going to go
but
up there.
It doesn't give you that little tickle that
I'm
you
going to
want.
go, it's your Ford pickup truck.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know, it's all right. It can hold loads of stuff in the back.
That's very stereotypical of you, man. Sorry to all our American viewers there. Chris has just, you know, insulted all you. You all drive pickups and shoot people. That's what he's talking
No, I never said anything about the shooting people. No, but there's plenty of space in the back. If you do shoot people, then you can take away the bodies. But that's another story. Okay, so we're moving on then quickly.
Bengals, of course, turn the season round. They could win that division.
Which is mad from the start that they've had. So, the Chiefs 42, the Texans 34. Geno's notes on this one, he did send them across to us.
Basically, like he said, the Chiefs are outstanding, aren't they? They're absolutely fantastic.
The only unbeaten team left in the league.
34 flat as Houston, it was never that close. Again, it was, speaking of fantasy, I had the Chiefs defence and I was winning my matchup, and then these garbage time points ended up killing me at the end of it. Even though Tyreek Hill got me punt return, which is great, then they lose these yards. The injuries again, it's so hard on Houston. They just lost Merciless and Watt in the same game, and that watching the game,
you've got to be asking about Watt now though.
It's bad. It's a bad injury, you know, with broken knees and never good, is it? And you felt the energy in the stadium, even from the TV. It just sucked the energy out of that room, and like Geno said on his notes, it just went flat after that. And you know, the Chiefs are dominant and the Texans lost them both, and therefore they lost their ability to get to Alex Smith. And he's right. Once they couldn't get to him, Smith could just pick his way through the game, and in the end, the better team won, and the Chiefs are the best team in the league at the minute.
And that's totally true. So we'll move on then. Not a surprising result, but surprising that the Jets have gone to 3-2 and they're about to face the Patriots this week, and they're 3-2 at the same time. But the Jets beat the Browns by 17-14, Steve.
Yeah, they didn't do it that much. The Jets were efficient, they were fine. The Jets are well coached, I'll give them that. Their players play above their talent because they've got no talent. So they, you know, especially offense, they play above the talent. McCowan's doing a fine job. The Browns kept getting in the red zone and cocking it up. They haven't led a game all season, which is mad. They missed field goals.
They haven't led a game at all.
No. They missed field goals. They missed 2 field goals. Deshaun Kaiser gets in the red zone and, you know, there's an interception, there's a fumble. He got benched, which I find really harsh. And Hugh Jackson says after the game, I'm not here to develop players, I'm here to win. Well, you haven't won, mate, so that's bad.
You don't go the Browns if you want to win, in fairness.
You should be there to develop players and stuff. And that offense is really, really tough for Kaiser. So what did you expect when you threw him out there? And then you in that scheme with those calls, I get why you bench him to an extent because he was terrible in the red zone. You know, you can't do that. I understand. But what would you expect from this guy? Because Myles Garrett plays his first game, 2 sacks. David Njoku, your other first round pick, comes and plays really well, good touchdown and stuff. You are developing players. So, you know, say I'm here for the wins. To an extent, but you've won 1 game. So if you're here for the wins, you're really crap at your job. What you should be saying is, I'm developing players, don't sack me, you don't fire me, because you're not winning games. Yeah. The Browns, they look worse on offense than they ever have in like the last few years, which is saying something. They are still.
I hope they turn it around next month.
They need a quarterback, next month. they need a quarterback badly, and I get that. But why did you take Kaiser with the second round pick? if you're going to bench him after when he has one bad half. I don't know. It was very strange.
Harsh, isn't it? Okay, well, we'll move on then. 49ers 23, Colts 26 in overtime. Second straight week that the 49ers have gone into overtime. 5 games they've lost now, the 49ers, which we think terrible. They've lost by 11 points combined over those 5 games. And Hoyer wasn't that bad in this game. Like, I was actually quite impressed with. It was brittle, I think, in the last sort of possession of the game. He caught 5 catches and stuff like that.
End, yeah, Kittle.
Kittle, sorry. And you're looking at it and you think, wow, they can actually move the ball when they need to. The problem is they're leaving it far too late again. And, you know, 2 overtime losses on the bounce now for them. Mentally, I can't see them coming back from that. Jacoby Brissett for the Colts and stuff. Yeah, he makes some silly mistakes. He should be thankful that he's got Hilton there.
I would say T.Y. Hilton makes his living off at home games. He runs, he gets yards all the time at home, and he's a great weapon. And that was the difference between the two teams. Pierre Garçon's good, but he's not great. Yeah, and T.Y. Hilton's great. And the 49ers doing a really good job of being competitive and still losing because they want a quarterback, so it helps them get up that.
It's true.
But you've got to. I don't know if you agree. The front seven's really exciting, I think, for the 49ers, but I disagree. I think Brian Hoyer's terrible. Like, I think he's like a really good backup. You wouldn't mind for a game or two, but
he's not the long-term solution.
Every game he does 2 or 3 stupid things that just cost you games, and you get the ball back in overtime off an interception, and yet you can't even get your team into field goal range. That's against that pretty average defense. I think you deserve to lose.
Okay, so we'll go to the Patriots versus the Bucks, which was the Thursday night game, wasn't it? Yeah. Again, you know, the Buccaneers should have won this game, Steve.
I mean, first of all, kicker watch. Nick Folk missed 2 field goals and an extra point. You can't do that against the Patriots. And again, I'm just getting Geno's notes because Geno watched this game for us. And like he says, you know, the Bucs defense had 1 sack all year, and yet they kept getting after Tom Brady. And I agree, they were all over Tom Brady. So that should be an encouragement for the Bucs, and definitely a worry for the Patriots. But Jameis made too many errors. They were just sloppy. That game was there for them to win. And I don't think the Patriots played particularly well, I'll be honest. But they were a bit more efficient.
They could have quite easily been 1-5 right now, the Patriots. Yeah. Quite easily, like, and they probably should be.
The only game they've dominated was the Saints game.
1-4 probably.
Yeah, sorry, the Saints game. They battered the Saints, to be fair. They steamrolled the Saints. But
they've got serious problems, the Patriots, right now, which is mad because, you know, before the season starts, you're just thinking nobody's going to live with them. And I know we've said this almost every week now, haven't we? Because they've struggled. But the fact of the matter is they've got Tom Brady and they'll still continue to win their games. And at some point, Belichick will improve that defense. The rest of the league need them to be out of it before they click, because I still think they might, and they're still going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, of course they'll be in the playoffs at some stage, and but they haven't got. Well, they haven't got a defense at the minute. They've got the defenses. Even in this game, I know they kept them to just a few points and stuff, but they were crap. You know, they were rubbish. I thought. Doug Martin ran all over them. I was surprised he wasn't used more. They kind of went away. They kept putting the ball in Jameis's hands. I was like, Doug Martin's running all over these. The offensive line was poor, but Brady and Amendola for next mostly, wasn't it, and Hogan to an extent, and then the kicker helped them as well. They just about done enough. They hung on, but I don't think the Patriots would look at that game and think, oh, we're fine. You know, defensively we're fine, offensively, because they're not. But we just keep expecting them to click, and it's one of those things where, when do you click? It's week 6 now coming up. Will you click then, or then it's halfway through the season? So I wouldn't bank on it.
The thing is, they've got all over great coaches.
Great coaches, like, and the best quarterback that's ever played. So you've got a chance. You've got a very good chance. You know, they've got a winning record and they've played poorly. So that's fair play. I just think if you play mistake-free football against the Patriots, I think you'll beat them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, well, moving on then. You watched the Ravens game, mate. It finished 30-17 against the Raiders.
Yeah, the Ravens, to be fair, Joe Flacco played well. It's the first game he's played well all season. They got off to a good start, go down the field. They get the turnover off the Jared Cook fumble, score off that, and then from then they dominated the game really. For the Raiders, EJ Manuel was okay, but he's never gonna win your game. He's never gonna drag you back. He's a backup. That's what you need. And defensively, they're not that good. That's the fact. Is the Raiders, they give 30 points up. Well, you know, some of that's on defense, to be fair, but the defense is poor. So you need your offense to be all clicking, all firing, like it was last year. That's how they win without the quarterback. And with Amari Cooper's gone missing, he's not getting open, and when he does get open, he's dropping the ball, so that's a big worry. Lynch got a touchdown, but he wasn't really effective. The Raiders aren't as good as I thought they were going to be. That's basically what it is.
No, I think it's fair to say, mate. Excuse me, obviously I watched the Vikings-Bears game where the Vikings win out 20-17. Not as close as maybe the scorelines would let you believe, but you know, Mitchell Trubisky's debut in the NFL.
How do you think he did?
He's good. He was good, mate. I think if you take away his interception towards the end of the game, which you can't because it's right at the end of the game, that's what you need from him.
I don't know, man. I feel sorry for him because he's got no weapons. That's a start. He was catching the ball. Having said that, I don't think he played great, if I'm honest. I think
he's a rookie coming in for his first game against one of the best defenses in the league.
You can see why
that's harsh.
Oh, absolutely.
I would have played him next week. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think it's an absolute baptism of fire to be starting him against the Vikings day. I mean, he's got Griffin coming down on him, who's got 6.5 sacks or something on the season now.
Right, and
you're like, is that fair on him? That's a terrible coaching decision.
You say that, but they did it because they went from Thursday to Monday with a home game, so it's like it's almost a bye. So I get why and their bye is late. So I do and I don't agree. What I would say is that, you know, it looks close, but even the touchdown he scores is an interception.
I don't know whether it's that easy an interception, to be honest.
It's a bad throw.
Because Sendeo tips it with his hand. Yeah. He's one-handed. That's like a wide receiver one-handed catch to bring that in. It's a bat down.
Yeah, it's a bat down.
It should be a bat down.
What I loved, I thought the two-play to point conversion play was a really clever play.
My word, that was
they might have wasted that because they're not going to get away with that again.
I know, it was unbelievable.
Pitching of toss to the wide.
It's amazing to the running back, a little pitch over and then straight out.
What I would say is that Trubisky's legs give him an advantage again. Mike Lennon was a statue and he kept getting hit.
Yeah, and we were talking about him rolling out and you know how many times we saw the bootleg from Trubisky, and that's that I get. Because that's playing,
good coaching.
That's good coaching. That's playing to his strength. That's getting him into a little bit of space without the pressure and stuff. And you've got to do that if you want to play against the Vikings day. But the defence is dominated in this game.
Can I ask you a question? Why do the Vikings look better with Case Keenum than Sam Bradford at the minute?
Because Sam Bradford was holding the ball for far too long.
Mate,
the one in the end zone for the safety is absolutely criminal. Yeah. Where is your internal clock? You must have got to 17 and thought, at some point, I'm going to have to let go of this. You've got to play the down in the situation. You cannot be standing in your end zone for 6-7 seconds. Horrendous. That's ridiculous. But it wasn't the only time that he did it. He did it on the play that he got injured as well. And you're looking at yourself and you're thinking, this is a guy who is afraid to pull the trigger at the moment. And whether that's because of the injuries, I don't know. Because Sam Bradford's a quarterback that I really like and I've always kind of liked, to be honest with you. He's had bad luck with his injuries over his time. But that was ring rust, if ever I've seen it. And I wouldn't be too concerned if he was to come back later on in the year, because he's better than Case Keenum, quite frankly. He is. And Case Keenum game managed there for us and put it on the defence. And the Bears put it on the defence as well. And our defence was better and we win the game.
Yep. And then for last game of the week, then I put this last for a reason. Tennessee 10, Miami 16. Honest to God, mate, that was the worst game I've ever had.
I've not seen this one.
Oh, don't bother. So it's Matt Castle against Jay Cutler.
Wow.
And it's hard to know who was the worst quarterback. That's how bad Jay Cutler was.
What's wrong with him?
You know, I've never seen a quarterback in my life go backwards as much as Jay Cutler does. For some reason, when you stand in the pocket, for some reason he's just going backwards. I was like, where's he going?
Stand still.
What are you doing? Your footwork's horrendous. It was bizarre, and he was like god awful. You know, he gets a touchdown in the end to Jarvis Landry to win the game and stuff. What I would say very quickly for Tennessee, you've got a quarterback, Marcus Mariota, who gets injured every year. He's been injured every year now. Why is Matt Castle your backup?
Yeah.
Why? Listen, don't even start with Colin Kaepernick is available. And I get the whole political thing and stuff. That's on you. If you're choosing to take a political stance and a media stance, and you're choosing to have Matt Castle, then you deserve to lose, because that guy can't play. He can't play. And there are better backup quarterbacks. You could have drafted a rookie in the 5th round who could have been better than this because he's crap. It's your own fault. So 10 points, all the best. And then you're behind in a division now against that's your own fault.
It's true. And if you enjoyed Steve's rants and you are a Titans fan, don't forget to like the video, because we need those likes. We're begging for likes at this point. Thanks very much for joining me again, Steve. An absolute pleasure, as it always is. We'll be back tomorrow. It's Thursday, probably very early with the preview show, where we'll look at all the games coming up in week 6. Some belter ties in there, can't wait for it. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel and tell all your friends about Cover 2 TV.